at the capacity building. It starts with education and persuasion about strength. So convincing the companies you can do it. And this is obviously where the officer pops in. We will meet in 2 weeks, the compliance officer. So you and me working in a company, that's then your task. To make the company aware of the fact, hey, there are rules on cigarettes and so forth. And this is steps to encourage them. To invent a label fair trade. And to organize a yearly competition of the greenest company. And to put on stage the manager that is having the human rights in Thai clothing companies highest in mind and is doing the best to produce it. So that you stimulate in your culture, in your society, sort of positive brainwashing that you say green is good. So that is part of capacity building. Yes?
That would be the example about the Japanese car producers.
Yeah.
Is that, that they're among each other basically trying to outscore.
With the electrical engine. Yeah. Yeah. And so that you foster, and in the energy market in Europe, there's this sort of debate, let's make it sustainable and green. So let's subsidize scholars who look at solar panels. And let's subsidize engineers in Delft who develop smarter and more silent windmills and so forth. Sort of positive investment one way or the other. And it coincides partly with the C, one of the 5 C's in the tools of the state, being communication. So if you use part of your governmental resources to foster the left pyramid by stimulating information, what is right, what is wrong. And for the breastfeeding example, the society is not aware enough of the benefits of breastfeeding. And there are competitive sort of brainwashings going on. Among others, another big problem being the glass ceiling for women employees, who then, to foster their career, think, okay, let's not do breastfeeding because male human beings tend to be in the Stone Age and think that breastfeeding should take place at home, and these types of considerations. And so it's a quite complex affair before you get to the point the rules should be ABC. So that is the capacity building. And then you have the pyramid of sanctions. And obviously the logical relation between the 2 pyramids is that if the left pyramid still results in market failure, then you move to the right pyramid and take even more concrete measures against market failure. So that's relationship 1. Relationship 2 is that within the sanctioning pyramid there are 2 types of sanctions. One is the restorative sanction, the sanction to repair the market failure, to correct the mistake. That's one type of sanction. And the other sanction is to punish the actor. And the most severe punishment of a corporate actor is that the business is closed. License is revoked, bankrupt, taken out of business. Equally severe for individuals is that you are put behind bars. And then less severe is a fine, a warning letter, naming and shaming, that the name of your company is put on the website to inform the consumers, dear consumers, you may do what you want with your money, but this investment fund is rather spooky. So that is the pyramid of sanctions. And the idea of responsive regulation is, dear state, in designing your arrangement, please think of those two pyramids. That's the whole message. The message of responsive regulation is, hey, this could be a sort of blueprint of the arrangement to avoid market failure and work on quality of goods, services, and market behavior. Question?
No, you answered it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Important to realize is that such a blueprint does not say yet who is doing what. And so you mentioned, or it's mentioned, Nobel Prize in Medicine. Well, Nobel Prize is a private initiative of the Norwegian government. Swedish? Is it? Yes, Mr. Nobel, the Swedish government. Or basically a foundation, but it's subsidized also by the Swedish government, who fosters, because it's glorious. And the whole thing is, it's not just the state in the strict sense of, legislative branch, executive branch, but it's the society. And the state can kittle the society, stimulate the society. Hey, capacity building. Cool, Nobel Prize. Cool, prize for green product. Cool, competition for goods, employership, and so on. And so the state, in sort of network thinking, is obviously involved in these types of capacity building arrangements. And then, the aim of this class is that from this sort of vague blueprint, we get to an understanding in 8 weeks that, well, who is then doing what? And what is the bottom line? And the bottom line is, where's the judge who can put you in jail? So we range from the Nobel Prize, that we start to appreciate quality, that we start to realize, hey, cigarettes kill. And maybe we are doing things right now, like the breastfeeding example, where in 20 years, we are ashamed to say, oh, do you remember that we allowed companies to seduce mothers to stop breastfeeding? Where now it is medically established that if you get breast milk for at least 9 months, your intelligence is 10 points higher in your test, and the chances of a divorce is 20% less, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. Maybe science is able to establish that. It's not unlikely. So that is the one side, hybrid, and then the sort of strict state role. Well, what are we doing then in 20 years' time with Nutricia? Still putting those advertisements in Antarctica. Are we putting them in jail, yes or no? So that's sort of the bottom line. And there was a question. Yes?
Yeah, how would you formulate market failure in 1 or 2 sentences?
Market failure is the mechanism in which consumers are exposed to goods, services, and market behavior of bad quality. Market failure is the phenomena or mechanism that exposes consumers, you and me, to goods, services, and market behavior of bad quality. And goods with bad quality, example, cigarettes that kill, Services of bad quality, example, trains that do not arrive. Market behavior that is bad quality is that you're seduced by doorstep selling with an advertisement to purchase a vacuum cleaner of 3,000 euros that is providing the same quality as the one in the shop for 200 euros. Are you familiar with those vacuum cleaners? Because the market behavior, the advertisement is not a service, it's just information for you. It's not a good, you cannot hold it, it's just an advertisement. But it seduces you, it does something with your brain, that you say, I want one, and I want the plus version of 6,000 euro, because they seem even better.
Actually misleading.
Misleading advertisements, unfair selling practices, you know, those beautiful, handsome, ideal sons-in-law who visit elderly homes and talk to the grannies and tell them you should take a subscription on a magazine on Harley-Davidson motorcycles. It's cool. And so forth. Yes?
The advertising marketing of alcohol is also marketing, right?
Yeah. And so with advertisements on cigarettes, we took steps in the European Union in the last 10 years, resulting now that you're not seeing smoking advertisements apart from with Formula 1 racing and a few other exceptions. Not on your television anymore. But with alcohol, we're not yet there, but it's now obligatory to put a line like drink with sense, or what's the responsibility and stuff like that. And so that is not the idea of the marketing department of Heineken. Because if it says drink responsibly, then you hear your mother talking, son, are you not drinking too much? So the advertisement is playing with that, and that reduces the sin. And so that's the power play. Yes?
But the same thing is also with cigarettes.
Sorry, say it again?
The same thing is also with cigarettes. Because they make a commercial that it is so lame now for this modern age.
Oh yeah, they
So it's a new kind of awareness actually.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful example of the left column, pyramid, and an example of the power of the C of communication. Because the C of the command, like smoking is illegal, we feel uncomfortable with. For two reasons. That we don't want the regulatory state to take over our lives. Two, history shows that if you ban a certain product, that's not very effective if everybody really likes it. So in the United States, they banned at a certain stage alcohol. It was the age in the USA where most people got drunk because of smoking. Here in this country, we officially ban drugs, but they are freely available. And so the funny thing of regulatory state is that there's only a certain amount of effectiveness of the C of command and punishment. Because, you know, consumers are funny bastards who sometimes like market failure. So that's the balance you have to do. Okay, let's do, before the break, a class assignment. And apply, let's say, the learning so far in the following way. Let's zoom in on the cigarette company. And you are employed by the cigarette company, and you get a report that the actual nicotine level in the cigarettes is 2 milligrams. So now you do a little role play. And you are working in the Food and Health Inspectorate of a European member state. We had examples of the rules. EU directive, so applicable in all 28 member states. Remember the 1 milligram. So the case is sort of pretty clear. And there are cigarettes with 2 milligram. And now you're around the table with your neighbors, one in pairs, and the key question is, all right, what are we going to do? And then you write down a sort of professional product for your boss, who is sort of responsible for the inspectorate, and who needs to take action. And what are then the tools? And think freely, so resources are not a problem and time is not a problem. So it's not an immediate threat that tomorrow people die. That's sort of structural problem. So look for structural solutions. And then discuss with your neighbor, which sort of blueprint should we take? What are the various options, and name them so that you can instruct your boss. And so if you wish, your boss is a former politician who needed a job. So he did not took this class. So he's not the boss based on merit, but because he needed a job. So there he is, in the top of the health inspectorate. No clue, but he knows there are all kinds of experts in the inspectorate. That's you. And you take him by the hand. Dear sir, we should do